Right, now we're coming back to the ones that you can invest in on the local market. And of course, Famous Brands is the biggest of the lot here. Pretty small though, we'll see its market cap in a minute. Its core business is Steers and Wimpy, because those are two very well-established South African store brands with big physical presence across the country, and it consolidated two of those. Also big in pizza through Debonairs, and then it's got a whole slew of what kind of quick service restaurants like we were talking about earlier. That's Mugg Bean, Tashas, which is their sort of premium offering. And then they've bought a whole bunch of other things, Mundo's, Mr Bigg's, which is a pie manufacturer in Nigeria, and then recent things like Mythos and so on as well. Throw it all together, we're talking about a market capitalization of just short of 12 billion rand. Price earnings ratio 23.8, dividend yield of 3.3%. Kevin Hedwick, great job, right? Taken a long time to get this big.
Yes. Yeah, so they were almost the original fast food South African brand. Steers being the core, but Kevin Hedwick taking over and gone on a real massive expansion drive, growing a lot through acquisition. You mentioned a few of them, and being able to expand the business to about over 2,500 stores, quite nicely represented across Africa, especially some international stores. Not that many, some in the UK, and really the big player in the South African context, in the South African market. An influx of new brands in South Africa, and I think that's where they're going to hit some headwinds.
So when you say that, you mean specifically like, say, Burger King, and some of the other donut brands,
Domino's on the pizza side. So really getting attacked.
Pizza Hut.
Yeah, exactly. So getting attacked on their core offerings, and Steers maybe.
In many cases, these big internationals have got deep pockets and great conviction. So what they'll do is they'll roll out an offering which is very attractively priced, and then that makes the market more competitive.
Yeah. So the South African market getting quite crowded from that perspective, and I think the proliferation of competitors is definitely going to be negative. The market is not growing that fast, so it's really a case of taking market share, and unfortunately for Famous Brands, they have the biggest market share.
Let's talk about the share price though, because I think the market model is what it is, but I think it must be noted that in the course of the last decade, you had the core founding Halamandaris family. They are people from Imalahleni, who started this thing, and then they had like 40%. They've been selling out, and who they've been selling out to was mostly emerging market-focused growth funds, like Aberdeen Asset Management and so on. And we know those people have all been getting killed in their home markets and have been facing fund liquidations. So it's created a bit of an overhang. You've got firstly the founding family, which tends to sell from time to time, and then some of these emerging market mid-cap type funds which have been caned. So I think the share price has actually held up quite well, considering there have been quite a lot of natural sellers in the market.
Yes, so what they've been able to do is maintain decent growth figures, because the acquisitions that they've brought in, Tashas is one that you mentioned, Mythos is a little bit smaller, but they've been able to keep their growth, I think, by acquiring these new brands and successfully integrating them, and then rolling out the number of stores, because that helps with growth. And as long as they can continue to keep the new store growth up, that's really growth on top of your existing base. You can keep it up. How much they can do, I'm not sure. I think they're trying to take some of their new brands international, which may keep that going.
And another thing I want to just point out is that they have got this thing called Paul, which is a French pastry and coffee type offering. But I guess the problem there is that whilst that's not really a well-known brand here in Southern Africa, they're going up against Starbucks, they're going up against Vida E and the others. It's like they've got the whole environment to themselves. Yeah,
and I think that has a limited number of stores in South Africa, because it's really at the premium end. So Faunus is most probably something that they'll try to take on in the bakery space. Volvatello they have already. How that'll affect that, who knows?
But real scale, and at the bottom end of the market, you're talking about young households in this country that are loving the idea of being able to go and eat out instead of being at home. And for those people, Debonairs, Wimpy, Spur, and so on are still not Steers rather, are still right front and center. Okay, so hot or not on this one?
I think they can keep going. They're one of the big ones, and I think if you like this sector, they are one to have. So I'm hot on this one.
So notwithstanding the concerns people have about the market and the consumers being under pressure and so on, it's still a growth story in my view anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so we're going hot on